Sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf. Because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for Santa Claus and get on the nice list at www.santaclaussays.net. Now here is the big man himself, Santa Claus!
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to all the boys and girls, the children of all ages all around the world. Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes. And we welcome you to our show here today, which is Santa Claus Says.net. Santa Claus says to be good for goodness sakes, and you can reach out to me at santaclaussays.net, our website, and you can leave me a message. You can leave it through voicemail, or you can leave it through an email, or you can leave it through a text message and tell me what your wishes are here for Christmas here of 2024. We have three things that we do here at santaclaussays.net, and that is we bring good cheer. And our pal Sprinkles helps us to do that, and we tell some funny jokes. And then we also tell a Christmas story. We've been reading the story of the little town of Peep. We're going to finish that story here today. Then we read a letter to Santa, and you can do that as well. And we look forward to having that go on here today. Well, there's the glockenspiel, which means it's time for our time for a good cheer, which is to have a joke. So what is Santa's dog's name? Santa Paws, of course. And why couldn't Santa have cereal in the morning? All of his bowls were full of jelly. Oh my goodness. Well, the glockenspiel means it's time for our story, boys and girls. And so here's our story. We've been reading the last couple of days, the last couple of episodes of SantaClausSays.net about the little town of Peep. So this is the third part of the story here we're reading here today. If you missed the first two parts, we invite you to go back to SantaClausSays.net. You can also go to Apple Podcast. You can also go to the YouTube channel. It's at youtube.com, Santa Claus Says, and you can find the other parts of this story. But right now, let's finish the story of the little town of Peep. And where we left it off, Santa's elves were having trouble understanding what had happened to the children of the little town of Peep. What did it, let's begin again. What did it all mean? They asked. The elves asked, who is this king? And why are the children in this town treated so? The children were treated so they couldn't have candy, they couldn't have toys, they couldn't play on the beach. The light in the lighthouse across the bay blazed, and Kindheart sprang to his feet. I'm going to go borrow that little boat, he said. And he pointed to a white boat pulled up on the beach. And row over to that lighthouse. Perhaps someone over there can tell us what this is all about. When they reached the lighthouse, two figures ran down to the shore and helped them from the boat. One of them was a little man who smelled strongly of peppermint candy. He is the Candy Man, said Sweet Tooth in a flash, and so he proved to be. The other figure was that of a neat little lady who held a half-made doll's dress in her hand. The toy lady, said Silver Tongue and Kind Heart in a breath, and this was so too. The Candy Man and the toy lady both talked at once. They were so excited at seeing the elves and so anxious to tell their tale. It is the new king's fault, they said together. He won't have a bit of noise. He doesn't want the children to romp and to be noisy, and that is why they must go to school all day and never play on the beach. That is why he sent us over here to live. He doesn't want the children to eat candy or to play with toys. All the king does from morning till night is to think of different things he mustn't do, different things we mustn't do, and then make signs to tell us so. So Bo Peep Town used to be a merry, happy place to live in, but now it is miserable, just miserable. And the children simply long to have us come back again. The elves and the toy lady and the candy man sat up almost all night talking things over. Of course, matters couldn't get any worse as they were. And once they had made up their minds what to do, they fell to work. For 2 days and nights, they worked as hard as they ever could. The Candy Man and Sweet Tooth made candy, all kinds. Silver Tongue and Kind Heart and the Toy Lady made toys, boats and pails and shovels and all sorts of sand toys, fish and stars, pans and cones. Then early one morning when it was darkest, just before the dawn, they filled their little boat with toys and candy and rowed over to the mainland. The elves first helped the toy lady and the candy man to open their little shops and place the toys and candy inside. Then Silver Tongue and Kind Heart and Sweet Tooth stole inside the palace and up to the bedroom where the king and his queen lay sleeping side by side. They were thoughtful little elves, you must admit. They packed a bag of clothes for the king and queen. They even remembered their golden crowns and put them in too. Then they carried the sleeping king and queen down to the little boat, rowed over to the lighthouse, and left them there. Next morning, when the children went to school, there was a new sign on the door. No school today! Someone spied the toy shop. The doors were wide open. The window was filled with brand new toys, and a fresh sign fluttered in the breeze. Penny toys sold here. At first, the children crowded round and stared. Then they sped to the candy shop. That was wide open too, every glass jar filled to the brim with the most delicious candy ever seen. The sign, shrieked the children. There it was, shining and new. Penny candy sold here. Down to the beach the children ran, screaming as they ran. They were so excited they had forgotten the king. The beach was covered with glittering new signs. Please paddle on the beach. Good sand for a building here. Kindly dig on this beach. Well, the children scarcely knew what to do. Some ran to the toy shop, others to the candy man to taste the new wares. How glad they were to see their old friends, the toy lady and the candy man, once more. Some of the children settled down to dig, and some of them fell to building in the sand, while others of them pulled off their shoes and stockings and happily splashed and paddled about in the cool green waves. Everyone took a holiday, fathers and mothers too, and that night, when dusk fell, they were still romping and playing and enjoying themselves on the beach. Suddenly out blazed the light of the lighthouse, and the figures of the king and queen stood on the shore. We like it here, shouted the king, making a great deal of noise for such a quiet man. We mean to stay. It is quiet here. We never want to live in that town again. The king and queen waved their hands goodbye. They had reached the lighthouse door when the king turned back. Our crowns, he shouted. You may have them. We don't want them anymore. And he tossed them one by one into the sea. When the crowns came floating in on the beach, the people picked them up and gave them to the toy lady and the candy man. Please be our king and queen, they said. But the toy lady and the candy man shook their heads. I would rather sell toys than be queen, said the toy lady. And I would rather make candy than be a king, said the candy man. So since they had no king nor queen, the people locked the front door of the palace and threw the key away. The crowns they fastened over the toy shop and the candy shop because they looked well hanging there. Bo Peep Town became overnight what it would have been before, a lively and pleasant place to which to live. And Silver Tongue and Kind Heart and Sweet Tooth went home happy, but not any more happy than Santa Claus after he heard what had been done. Well, what a wonderful story about the little town of Bo Peep, and reminder about how to be nice and to enjoy Christmas with all the candy and the toys and the things that we have at Christmas time. Well, there's our Glockenspiel, boys and girls, which means that it is now time for our story, or for our letter to Santa of the day. And a reminder that you can always reach out to me and give me a letter by going to santaclaussays.net, and that is where you can leave me a voicemail or an email or a text message, and I will get those messages and I will respond to you. Our letter today is from Dylan. And Dylan says, I would like a skateboard and a 3D printer and an LG monitor and a gaming computer as well. Well, Dylan, that's a lot of things that you're asking for. And Santa specializes in surprises, but I know that people in your life love you very much, and Santa loves you very much. And I'm glad that you're asking for great wishes in your life, especially that computer, which will help you to not only play games, but to learn good things. You can look up on YouTube our show, which is youtube.com/Santa Claus Says. You can also look up on Google and other things about the North Pole and other places in the world to learn something. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want to encourage all you boys and girls to reach out to me at santaclaussays.net, voicemail, email, and text message. I will hear what you have to say. Well, boys and girls, there's the glockenspiel, which means it's about time for us to close our show. We are here to do three things every day during the Christmas season. We come on live on YouTube at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are on Apple Podcasts and other podcast directories as well, and on our website, santaclaussays.net. We're here to do three things. One is to bring Christmas cheer, and our buddy Sprinkles helps us to do that. We tell good jokes. We tell a great story. We had the story today about the little town of Peep, and we read letters to Santa. If you'd like to participate in Santa Claus Says, just go to santaclaussays.net for the podcast and for the replays, or join me each night at Santa Claus Says live stream, which is at youtube.com/Santa Claus Says. Santa Claus loves you and cares for you, and I'll see you soon on Christmas Eve. A reminder, Christmas Eve, we have a special story the night before Christmas, and on Christmas Day, December 25th, we tell the story of the first Christmas, the birth of Jesus. That's the best Christmas story ever. Until next time, boys and girls, this is Santa Claus, and Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes.